I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Brian, will you do roll call?
Kelly Campbell.
Yeah.
Amber Fletcher.
Here.
Pete Garbutt.
Here.
Mike Mays.
Here.
Brooklyn Barnhart.
Here.
Andy Bakke.
Here.
All right, thank you. All right, first item on the agenda this evening, we want to do a special presentation. Rob, I'm not for sure where Sean is. We can't do our presentation without them. So just a second here, guys. One second.
Get to work outside. Yeah, I was playing on my equipment all day. It was good.
He's got a green.
No, that's okay.
Oh, listen. Hey, Rob, give me one of those pens.
Thank you. All right, we have a new officer to swear in this evening. Sean, I know you have some opening remarks here to share with the
Yeah.
group.
Would you like me to,
Right there, I'm coming around.
right here?
Wherever you feel
Wherever
comfortable.
you want. I just wanted to, well, my name is Assistant Chief Sean Love. I really you don't know me. Wanted to introduce the new guy we're gonna get sworn in today. He's Owen Hunter. He comes from Rickley as a sergeant, 5 years of full-time experience. I personally have been on him every day about trying to apply and get him to come here. I've worked with him for the past 2 years at the sheriff's office, pretty much as a partner. We would assist each other a lot on cases. I've come to grow to know him, his experience, his compassion for people. I believe his loyalties and his honesty, and he's just a good person will align with the values that we're trying to pull here at the police department. Couple of the things that I wanted to share with you, there's just some of his certifications. That he's ARIDE certified, which is an advanced roadside impediment class that you can take. He's had training in tactical vehicle stops and approaches, CIT training, crisis intervention training, which is good for people that are having mental issues, things like that. So it's good to have that kind of training. Advanced de-escalation, that advanced school shooter response certification, a bunch of leadership certifications for his sergeant position that he was in. And he said he has literally a bunch more that it's in a folder that he just couldn't fit it all in a text. So I just wanted to introduce him to that, and we're glad to have him join. Again, I tried to get him to come to the sheriff's office. I'm glad that he didn't do that. So when I found out that I was considering coming to Georgetown, I pulled up next to him and I said, "Hey, you're going to come to Georgetown if I come?" And he's like, "Yeah, I might." Well, a week later, I solided that in and found out I was coming here. And first thing I did was pull up next to him with an application, made him download it, contacted him every day, and even contacted his wife when he wouldn't answer me back. So here we are. I just wanted to present your badge to you.
Owen, swear you in. Owen, if you will, raise your hand. I state your name,
I, Owen Hunter,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Charter and ordinances
the Charter and ordinances
of the Village of Georgetown,
of the Village of Georgetown,
and will obey the laws thereof,
and will obey the laws thereof,
and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
honestly and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of a member of the
of the
Georgetown Village Police,
Georgetown Village Police,
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sean, you want in?
Yeah, we're gonna get a picture all together.
Okay.
While you're doing that,
And she's gonna take a picture of us. We're not gonna tell everybody this, but I'm gonna stand up on you.
I was talking to you yesterday,
Just to make it look a little better.
how much they hated that you were leaving there. Said you were great to talk to citizens, going to businesses and touch base with them, and they were really sorry to leave you, so we're glad to have you.
That took multiple.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Oh, okay, I'm gonna put it on this page here.
Thank you.
I'll send you this one then too.
Owen, thank you again. We are glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
All right. And you guys are welcome to stay or you're welcome to go out. It's completely up to you.
You want to see the badge?
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and start with public comment. So I will start in the back of the room. Madison, sir, come on up to the microphone. State your name.
Is it my turn on Price is Right?
It is your turn. You have 5 minutes. Just make sure when you sit down to state your name for the public that's watching at home.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Michael Horn. I'd like to speak about conflict resolution. I've got a few ideas. I spent about 15 years in a volunteer organization doing Robert's Rules of Order meetings. And I think that it's probably time for the village to looking at hiring a facilitator to mediate between some of the conflicts that we have in the community. It would also be an opportunity to acquire training for the village council and the village staff on handling and managing conflicts. It would also be helpful to establish a parliamentarian. This is somebody who is the authority at the meeting for Robert's Rules of Order. And it's an opportunity for a couple youngsters or high schoolers to be a junior parliamentarian and get a resume stuffer. The next thing I'd like to suggest is that all media that represents the village of Georgetown come under the control of the mayor's office via the village administrator, because we have residents of the town representing the town in what's become a distraction from how great our community can be. I would also suggest that the council establish a committee to amend or make new bylaws such that when there is a vacancy in the councilors, that the candidates who received votes in the public election have the first opportunity for their spots should they choose to accept them. And the other thing I would like to stress is that with some of the conflicts and some of the issues that we have, Robert's Rules of Order and parliamentary meetings don't do well because of the length of time needed for everybody to talk it out. So I would really suggest some town hall discussions on this stuff. And the last thing that I think I'll squeak in here is I would suggest establishing a mock council with our high schoolers, because if you broke it up into 3 months assignments, that's 4 times a year. You can get some students shadowing the counselors, the administrators, the mayor, debating the issues in town, and getting a new look on things. And I think that the youngsters don't have the years of conflict and strife and bad feelings that we might have, and they can get through on some of these issues and give us some new ideas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We appreciate that. All very good points. All right, Mr. Jones.
Jeremy Jones, village resident. I tagged some of you in, excuse me, my post last night, and that was there's another state that's painting between the yellow lines solid blue color to represent supporting the police department. And I commented on that, and you can go check it out and read a little more about it. But I commented on it about we could probably do a hybrid thing, and we probably should do a hybrid thing where it also incorporates the fire department as well. And that's just for our community to kind of see that we support fire, we support the police, and that's just the way they were doing it. Also, it kind of directed them to the police station. We could direct them to the fire station. I mean, a lot of people come up here and visit us, and, you know, I don't know how far they go out as far as Mount Orr Pike or whatever to get to the firehouse. But if you're not around here, you ain't driving to the firehouse, I'm sure. You're going to be right here in the middle of town. But just an idea I had. Like I said, I tagged some of you in it. But I thought that would be a worthwhile idea. Something positive to do in our community. Not saying that the village would have to necessarily do it, but just wanted to throw it out there, and you guys can have that conversation amongst yourselves. And aside from that, I would want to wish you all the best on your 2 years here, and hopefully you guys can work together. Mm-hmm.
All right, Ms. Montgomery? Don't forget to state your name.
My name's Nancy Montgomery. I live on White Oak Avenue in the village. Did you know sidewalks were a problem? We've heard about it at the last meeting. We've heard Mike whine about them for over 2 years and never bring a solution, never bring an idea. I am a solution person. There's a problem, you find a solution. Excuse me. I know that Mike and Amber think I'm too old to be useful or productive, but my brain still works. I have 4 suggestions for sidewalks. Number 1, advertise the village matching program. It's not been done. It needs to be on the website, it needs to be on Facebook, it needs to be shared. A lot of people don't know about it. Number 2, sometimes half of the cost of replacing an old sidewalk is removing the sidewalk and disposing of it. Can the village help with that? Probably. Even if they can't remove the old sidewalk, they could help with disposal, and that's where the real cost is. Number 3, the village pours the sidewalks. Now, do we have the manpower for that? Probably not. So hire part-timers, that's all they do. Worked great in Ripley. That's what they did. And the village paid the workers, the property owners paid the village, worked really well. Or you could take a bunch of the property and put it out for bid at one time. The same thing. The property owners pay the village pays the contractor. Now, those who can't pay when it's done, it goes on their property tax. And you can put a 0%, a 1%, maybe a 2% on that, and you decide the length that it would take them to pay it back. 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, whatever will work. The 4th is to apply for a Safe Route to School grant. This is a federal program that's administered by the state. The point of it is to get kids exercising more and being outside and cut down on traffic. And they want kids to walk and bicycle to school. It is a 100% no match grant. So it costs the village nothing. They'll do 2 miles from the school, a 2-mile radius. I did the elementary, I didn't do the high school, and 2 miles goes way beyond our village limits, except to the south. And it doesn't quite reach the southern tip. They do non-infrastructure projects like school crossing guard, educational programs. They supply bike helmets. They'll pay for the radar, the portable radar speeding signs. Then they do pedestrian infrastructure. That's sidewalks. Now, I don't know if they would do every sidewalk within a 2-mile radius, or if it's just the main ones, or it depends on where the kids are coming from. But I will tell you, it's an intensive grant. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's very competitive, but Aberdeen got it twice. I think Williamsburg got it years ago. So it can be done. You have to collect a lot of data. You have to form partnerships with the school, with the health department, maybe with the county, maybe with the township. You have to find a grant writer. That is not me. You'll have to hire somebody. And you probably have to have an engineer do the budgeting for the grant, the budget quote. Anyway, those are the ideas that came to me, and I talked to people in other communities to see how they were handling it, and that's where a couple of these came from. Stop talking about problems. Start talking about solutions. That's what people want to hear. That's it.
Nancy, I have a question. What's the title of the fourth one? What'd you call that grant?
A safe route to school.
Safe Route to School. Thank you.
And I want to add one thing. I thought when Art was here a year ago, actually, Art put that out, that the village was going to pick up the cost of that due to the increase in the cost of concrete as far as removal through the town. I thought that had already been discussed and that was in practice, is what
I don't know if it's been, I mean,
because that
it
was,
had been talked about. You're talking about on the removal.
yeah, on the removal, that was discussed.
We did talk about that. I can't remember if it was passed or if it was a plan was put in place.
$1,000.
Up to 1,000.
And that's something that Kelly or the future person that takes care of the village website could, the future
Yeah, and
administrator
also on
could take
social
care
media.
of putting on there.
Yeah, we can put that on.
Because that should be something that could just run as well as the name of the town, right? Every week.
I know a few have used it, but not many.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we just cut a check this week, Nancy, for the church next week.
Like I say, you might be able to mix and match some of these, you know.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them move forward with more people being able to do it. I think it's a great idea.
Well, that's,
Oh, I'm sorry. I figured my mouth was big enough.
that may not even be enough for some people.
Right.
God, it's expensive.
Well, and there was the discussion me and Art Owens had in his office about doing the, put it on the land tax. But I think a lot of people are, I mean, it's a lot to pay at the end of the year. I know my son was belly aching the other day about paying land tax on his farm and, you know,
Yeah, but
it's,
if you can't, if it's gotta be done and you can't pay it all at once, it's a
Right.
great way to do it. And anytime you're paying a not-for-profit organization instead of a private contractor, you're saving money.
And maybe we talk I would assume under the CDC, the community development. That could be something that you agenda for the CDC to put on your radar as you prioritize your goals for this year. And look at the matching grant, make sure that you feel it's sufficient, or matching fund.
And there's a phone number for regional. I think it's somebody from ODOT. If you look it up online, there's a contact that you can call and talk to directly
Okay,
about it.
fantastic. Thank you.
Does the village have a place that like, if we did take control of pulling them slabs out from the sidewalks, do we have a dumping area that we could utilize or a backfill area that needs backfill or to keep that cost,
Ellie, do we have a dumping area? Like, for example, if they do dig up somebody's concrete, do we have a place that we're able to dump that? Or what do we do with it?
Most of our digs now are going on the backside of the park where the old mulch used to be stored years ago.
Yeah.
When I first came to the village, we had stockpiled everywhere, and that was one of the first things I did was clean up all of our messes because we were asking the public to clean up theirs. So
Yeah.
we had to clean up our own, but we're putting it on the backside of the park. Concrete, there's county does probably gets rid of a lot of stuff. There's people out there that take it. It's just getting it to them, the expense of that. But
the worst case scenario with the equipment we have, we could always dig a hole somewhere at the park, right? That's not going to be in, and then you gain the dirt for other uses and then, fill it in, pack it down.
without
Put
talking
2
to
foot
them,
of-
you probably have to be a little careful because you're getting into demolition debris.
Or it could be to where you just, if you don't have one in the village, you just rent a jackhammer for one of your machines. And you designate a week of hammering up and then reusing a stone for low spots or whatever for base instead of dumping it.
Good idea. All right.
Okay, let's see. Ms. Jan Stopbach, would you like to address?
No.
Nope. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, guys, it's a light agenda tonight. So first item on the agenda is the approval of the January 11th regular session of council. Meeting minutes are in your packet. Take a look at those. Assuming there are no changes, we will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second that.
The motion has been made to approve the meeting minutes from January 11th by Andy Bakke. Mike Mays seconded that motion. All those in favor state so by saying aye, or do I need to roll? I apologize. Brian, go ahead and do a roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Corbett,
Yes.
Mays,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Bucky.
Yes.
Motion passes. On page 4 of your packet, you'll see the regular session meeting minutes from January 25th. Take a look at those. If there are no amendments, we will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Fantastic. The
Motion has been made by Kelly to approve the meeting minutes from January 25th. Bink Garbett has seconded that motion. Brian, can you do a roll call vote?
Campbell,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Corbett,
Yes.
Mays,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Bucky.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, on page 7, you will see ordinance for us adopting the Ohio Basic Code. This is something that we do on a yearly basis so that Rob and his team have something that they can adhere to and do violations and charges and things that they need to do. So it's basically their rule of operation. So take a look at that. And if there are any questions, if not, we read it first, right? Or no?
Yeah, we need to read it right. We need to read it before we.
Okay. Kelly, will you please read the ordinance?
An ordinance approving, adopting, and enacting American Legal Publishing's Ohio-based Code 2024 edition as a code of ordinances for the municipality of Georgetown, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Can I ask one quick question on that? I noticed he said in there, it says a 2024 edition. Was there very many changes or any from the prior year or?
You're talking about a team of attorneys, so yes, something changed.
I think, isn't it a fairly thick, like,
It's not as thick as the Ohio Revised Code, but it's the Ohio Basic Code is what we use in mayor's court.
yeah.
So basically, any mayor's court charge would go through
I
that
think the
book.
last page is the changes.
So there was
Yeah.
changes on this.
It says note regarding Ohio Revised Code as amended by Senate Bill 156. Let's see where it says amended by.
Page is that?
Page 30. Next page, Rob. So Mike, we do this every year, and I'm assuming every year there's tweaks on the code itself for, as Rob said, there's a team of attorneys that basically write this for the state of Ohio. But if we don't adopt it, then they have nothing to revert back to cite or do violations.
Basically, everything would have to go through county.
Yeah. All right, if there are no additional questions, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? Andy has properly made the motion to approve the Ohio Basic Code Ordinance, with Mike seconding that motion. Brian, roll call vote.
Campbell. Fletcher.
Yes.
Garbutt.
Yes.
Mays.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Walke.
Yes.
It's ordinance 1364.
All right, thank you. All right, on page 31, you will see a copy of your mayor's court report in there. Rob, anything to add on that?
Unless there's any questions, but
On page 32, you will have the statistics report from the police department and the nature of the offenses on page 34. Again, Rob, anything to add there?
with 300, as you can see there, 360 different types of calls that we went to. Some of those were created by the officer, by like traffic stops and things like that. And then the types of offense reports we took over the last, well, I'm sorry, that was in January. And then I do have a few things that of note that I wanted to talk about from January. On the morning of January 10th, I was actually dispatched to UDF for a report of a gun that was located in the mulch outside of the store near the front entrance. I responded to, and upon inspection, the gun was found to be a toy gun. However, upon first glance, it could have easily been mistaken as a real gun. It is unclear who may have disposed of the toy gun or what their intentions were by purposely leaving it there. It was seized and is scheduled for destruction. A rent scam. On January 13th, Officer Brittany Johnson took a report for a rent scam. A couple filed a report stating that they had been paying a woman via a money transfer app to meet a deposit for a residence here in the village. They had come in contact with the person through social media, a social media ad about the property. In reality, it was in foreclosure and was to be sold by the lien holder. This is an ongoing investigation by Officer Johnson, who is attempting to track down the owner of the that was receiving the transactions. And that's actually happens quite a bit on like Facebook Marketplace, things like that. People put cars on there, anything that they think will attract attention. I've even seen somebody that put a deposit on a RV that didn't exist and was out about $800. But yeah, this is a common scam. Basically, if anybody ever wants you to give them money before you even come to see the item or meet with them, I would advise against that because you're probably going to be out whatever money that you sent to them. And then on the January 24th, I was dispatched to the Georgetown Behavioral Hospital for a patient who was causing a disturbance, breaking out a window and fleeing on foot. Upon my arrival, I and the sheriff's department searched the grounds and the surrounding area for the subject, but we were unable to locate them. A report was taken for vandalism and charges were filed. Several attempts have been made by the sheriff's department and our department to make contact with the subject at his home, but have not been able to do so. Stolen vehicle report. On the 27th, Patrolman Kyle Luther took a report from an over-the-road trucker who had returned home to find his wife incarcerated and his pickup truck was missing. His wife told he and officers that the truck had been left at IGA parking lot with the keys inside. However, the truck was not there. As the officers continued to look into the matter and repeatedly spoke with the victim's wife, it became apparent that they had been given false information. It seems that the wife was attempting to keep her husband away from the vehicle, which was located in Kentucky, by a known acquaintance of the wife. Although the wife could not be charged with theft as the truck was marital property, she was charged with obstructing official business for her attempts to mislead police during the investigation. And then I got a little bit of show and tell here. So for the last couple of meetings, people have been talking about these speed signs that are in, I'm sure everybody's seen them on 68 miles. Mine I think, from what I understand, they got like 5 or 6 of these. This is actually the base model. This is Nemo. The guy that sells these is actually local. He's based out of Hammersville. But they're quite costly. This, just as it is $3,000. For extra batteries and what they call a data collection software, that's over another $1,000. So for a whole package, you're looking at over $4,000. I had already approached some local insurance companies, as I thought, they may want to promote, driving safety. So my plan is, I've actually already have $2,500 donated. And what my plan is to have, if you look on the back of this here, there's a small bracket. It's pretty simple, but all of the mounting hardware is inside the case here. So I want to get several mounts rather than having several units, and basically have them in strategic places in town. That way we can just move it wherever we want to have it. The other thing I want to do, just as acknowledgement of the people that sponsored it, is to have a little sign under each mount stating that so-and-so sponsored this and whatever their company logo is. So I'm hoping that, just in the few days that I have been out looking, that I'll be able to get all the funding and the village won't have to pay anything. But these things, the data collection is actually a one-time fee. It's about $300. And what it does, it doesn't take pictures of anybody. It doesn't write anybody a ticket that they're going to get in the mail. But it basically lets us know, hey, at this time and date, this is when you're having the most speeders coming through here. This can also be programmed not only for the speed of whatever street it's on, but let's just say you have somebody's got a hot rod car and they want to see how fast they go. You can actually restrict it. So like after there's so many miles over, it won't tell them. So people don't play games with it. This is actually has a film on it to protect it from vandalism. All of the lights and everything in here are recessed. So even if somebody breaks this out of there, it's very unlikely they're going to damage the electronics. But in this little blue light, basically, if they go over the speed limit, you can actually even tell it how many miles over you want to do it, but it'll start flashing and say, hey, you're going too fast, just to get their attention. I know the one in my order gets my attention, so I do think if we were able to get this thing, it will definitely slow down some of the places that were really getting complaints about the speeders. And because I think a lot of places, especially out on Camp Run, for instance, I think a lot of people are going to come in. They just came in off of 68. They were doing 55, 60 miles an hour out there. Then they come in on Camp Run. They're doing probably 40 to 35.
and then they come, and it's 25. And I think a lot of people just honestly don't realize that they just said 25 zone. And this here will wake them up. Home Street's another hot spot, it was 25 because it's residential and it's a nice street and people will do 35, 40 miles an hour up there. So, I think it'll definitely help us out. But like I said, for that price, we get the sign, we get 2 sets of batteries, and the data collection. So
How much are the posts now a piece?
the posts. Well, I don't know if I should say this, but my plan is to get one mount and taking it to one of our local businesses and having several more.
They'll fit on any kind of post, I assume.
Yeah,
so that-
basically what you do is you have anything that is removable is encased inside of here. So you're gonna use obviously, carriage bolts or something on the outside where nobody can put a wrench or anything on it, and remove it, so.
I have a couple questions. So I'm assuming you can set that for high or low perimeter. So like if Jelly Rocky wants to see how fast he can run, you can crank that down to read from 0 to whatever.
Like I said, if it's, let's just say it's a 25-mile-an-hour zone, okay? And I don't want anybody seeing how high they can get this thing. I can turn it off to 35,
Gotcha. And my second, do they make a solar battery powered one where you don't have to do the battery backup?
Unfortunately, for this model, no. This is the cheapest model they have, believe it or not. They only go up from here.
Okay.
And then when you get into the trailers with the solar and all that, you're looking at, anywhere from 16, 20, 25 grand. They do make a trailer mount, like a Reese hitch mount for these that you can basically put it in the back of a cruiser or something like that, and put it there temporarily. I do like the idea of having, like I said, multiple locations, because we do have, I've been working here for 27 years, and it's still the same spots it's always been, where you can go and sit for 5 minutes and you've got a speaker. So I'm hoping that this will deter a lot of that. We got kids in these neighborhoods too, and a lot of people don't think about that, they just think about where they want to go.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'd like to tell you, thank you for thinking of the ideal to set the post in different places and utilize that. That's huge. That is a lot of savings, really, and a great ideal.
I hate going around and asking for money, but, we are fortunate that we have a lot of businesses here in town that support both us and the fire department. And it is much appreciated whenever they constantly come through for us.
Thank you, Rob. All right, any questions for Rob? All right. Moving right along tonight, guys. Let's move right into roundtable. And Andy, oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed something already. Yes, I am right. Okay. The last piece in your packet on the very last page on the backside, you will see a report from Mike for his zoning efforts this month. So take a look at that. And then there was an attachment of everybody's statement that came after the statement was, or the packet was printed. There is a monthly statement from Hammond Consulting as well. It was a loose piece in the back, so take a look at that as well. And then we will move right into roundtable. And let's see, Mike, I'll probably start with you on the end down there.
Okay, well, I've got a couple things, or a few things. One, I wanted to see, well, first off, I'll go off of what Jeremy Jones said earlier. I think it's a pretty good idea what he was talking about. Unfortunately, it's always a budget shortfall. I'd like to see something like that happen, and I think we could make that happen in our community just by, getting people together. I stopped and spoke with Jeremy before I came in tonight, and I told him, maybe we can get, support through the people. The paint's not that expensive. This is something I think very doable. I think with our help from the police department and possibly the fire department blocking off some areas, maybe come July, August, we get together, put our heads together, get a couple buckets of red, or a bucket of red paint, bucket of blue paint, mark these lines out. If we contract that out, it'll cost us tremendous amounts. If you want to show the care for your fire and EMS and your police department, I think that it would be more meaningful for them for it not to just come out of the budget, but come from the people themselves. So I think you achieve two things there. You save a lot of money from the general fund being pulled out. Two, you bring unity together for the community, and you create that support that should be necessary.
We'll have to, I mean, if that's something that council so chooses to do down the road, we got to make sure we check the legality of it, especially with the state, and
Right.
because nobody's checked that out. So
Right. But just putting that out there as far as, it's nice to see people try to embrace ideals for our community. And if we, throw every ideal out and we don't, try to go down that avenue, then people lose sight and desire to come in and try to, give help for our community. Secondly, I know this is going to sound silly, but I'd love to get the support of council and maybe consider doing this summer. We've got a beautiful park out here. And a lot of people have talked about cameras and money for cameras. Well, we've got a lot of retired older farmers that's moved into our community that love doing gardening, that would love to be a part of gardening. And we used to have a farmer's market every year out here on the town square. So maybe there's a possibility that we could get together a committee or something to work together with local retired farmers and people in the community that desire to do something for the park, and maybe put a garden out there with corn and, watermelons and different types of vegetables. And maybe toward the end of fall, even we can get FFA program involved in it, Future Farmers of America at our local school, and have them take part in helping with this. And the yield, we could do a farmer's market this fall and take that money. And I'm saying do a farmer's market on a lower, like a lot cheaper, but so we help our community save money, but also we put money back to where we could help buy cameras for the park. So then we help, do two things. One other quick thing I'd like to do is I'd like to mention that we have a new building, or a building up here on the square that a committee came together and opened up a new Republicans location. Not that it matters whether it's Republican or Democrat. It's just good to see things happening on the square. There was a meeting Tuesday night. There was a wonderful outcome of a lot of people, actually about 85, 90 people probably showed up to that event. Some local people that are running for offices spoke. So it turned out really nice. So I'd like to congratulate them on putting that together. And then one little quick thing else. One other thing I'd like to see out at the park, and this is just maybe because I grew up on old farms. Why can't we plant apple trees and pear trees out there? I mean, it would be so wonderful if we had fresh fruits out there. When our kids go out there and play ball or practice, they can run over and grab a piece of fruit, have a dessert instead of a fruit roll-up. And I don't know that would be expensive, but I don't think it would be. And if it came down to where we couldn't find funding for the trees, I'd gladly pay the money out of my own pocket. I think that's great to have stuff like that in our local parks. We were a tree city, I know, at one time. I don't believe we are anymore, but I think there were some things that came along with that made it kind of difficult to stay that way. But I do think that, in the world we live in today, if you turn on the news, you hear about food shortages coming for the United States in different areas. Not trying to go like we're going to not have food, but at the same time, it's nice to have product there, fresh product. So maybe we could get together in some of these committees and do some things like that. Other than that, that'll be it.
And I was just going to say, so you're sitting by the chair of the CDC committee, so certainly I would talk to him about possibly putting that on discussion for their agenda, potentially, however they feel about it. So, thank you, Mike. Bink Garbett?
Just had one thing that I was thinking about. I brought this up last year at the CDC meeting and wanted to kind of put it out there to the public if anybody's watching and is interested in this. We talked about doing
like a sand volleyball league up at the park. Maybe having a night where we would have to totally redo the court, but maybe if we could get some businesses involved that might want to sponsor some of that. And I know a lot of people who do play sand volleyball and they drive all the way to Beachmont and Milford to play. Maybe if we offered something like that. So if you are interested, just send me an email or a text and or Facebook, and we'll try to see if we can get some interest in something like that. I'd like to think in the future of maybe other things that we can do in the village, maybe even softball. I talked to a few people in the community who are interested in doing like a flag football league. So I think we need to have some fun things in Georgetown as well. I mean, we do have some activities on the square that are great, but if we had some kind of community leagues that we could do, I think that could be beneficial. So if you're interested, just look me up.
Kelly Campbell?
A couple quick things. Mike, I'm not saying I'm for or against the garden idea, but all your 4-H clubs, they have to do volunteer work. A lot of them pick up trash on the side of the road and do that kind of stuff. So I'm sure they could use that towards their hours. The only thing I have is actually for Kelly James. Have you heard anything about Mike Mays and that grant for starting on that old water building? Anything about tearing that down? We got it.
You're talking about the tear down?
Yeah.
No.
I know we were supposed to be hopefully on kind of close to the top, and it's just getting in the new year, so I'm trying to see if there's any talk of it.
That was Tom Mays.
I was
my bad.
thrown off by that.
Threw me off when you said Mike.
Yeah.
I actually have Tom written down. That's all I have.
Okay. All right. Brooklyn? Amber?
So the community garden, I actually was thinking about that a couple months ago. I thought that would be really great. And so I was discussing this with a group of women at the Coffee Loft the other day, and we were talking about how we could do a farmer's market and close off was before on Cherry Street Park. Don't you think? Wouldn't that be cooler? And just soccer fields for that, or like right there, or yeah, probably the soccer fields because we don't want to park in the back, but that would be great for that. Yeah, I think that's an awesome idea. Yeah, and that's all I have.
All right. I would definitely. Well, Amber, you are on CDC, so definitely if that's something you guys feel strongly about, urge your.
Remember what Kelly said about the help, because that's big, and I don't remember who he said. 4-H. Okay. Because young people can be very big help.
All right, Andy Backey.
Don't really have too much. I guess I was just curious, since we did the resolution the last time for the village administrator and the headhunters, has that panned out at all, or?
Paying off, definitely. We've
Great.
had at least 7 interviews, and we feel like we have some probable candidates in there. We're probably encouraging on the second round of narrowing down, but I think the group here, Kelly Campbell's a part of that, Brooklyn's a part of that, Kelly Jones has been in on the conversations. So we're still searching, but we've had some really good candidates, and actually I've halted the consulting firm from sending me any more at this moment. So
Great. The only other thing, I talked to Brian, we were talking between meetings about the website, and he had just, because I brought that up, and I think they're trying to get that to where it needs to be. So that's a good thing. And he had actually mentioned potentially we could get our YouTube link put on that site on the minutes. So if people want to watch that, which was a great idea. So hopefully we can get that where it needs to be as well. That's all I have.
great, thank you. Joey?
The only thing I have is just for the general public to watch in May. Nancy and her committee are sponsoring the Arts on Fire again. Actually, I think I forget. Hang on a second here. It's John Wood Insurance and Parkers that's sponsoring it, but Nancy and her group's putting it on. So they'll be painting the fire hydrants again this year. So, which is great because it keeps us from having to paint them, which I absolutely hate doing. So I encourage them to do it. So if everybody go paint a hydrant, I won't have to. So.
Kelly Jones, anything for the group?
Few things for council, just updates. The water building's still on schedule, even though we had a couple of bad weeks of weather. Target date for completion's around April the 1st. And update, I sat in on the District 15 meeting. We had a project for Mount Ord Pike water line. The funding on that, we came in dead last in one area and we came in sixth in a different area. The only problem is they stopped at number 5. So if one of those projects would drop out, then we would move up. So I would encourage council to keep that in the back of your minds. We need to work forward with that project. And I still haven't heard anything on the Appalachian grant. 2 weeks ago, we were supposed to have an answer. We still don't have that answer. And just to give you an idea how important these projects are to keep moving forward. It's my understanding the telemetry system failed 3 years ago or so on one of the water towers. A few weeks back after the cold spell, you always have breaks when it gets cold and you always have breaks when it thaws. And we had an 8-inch line break, which dropped our towers 40 feet. Unfortunately, we didn't find it until after we'd lost probably, I think we're still trying to figure out exactly, but we lost about 700,000 gallons of water. So if you have these telemetry systems in place, that alerts you that you have a major issue. So that's something that's on the agenda. We're working on that project right now, but that's why staying on top of your infrastructure is very, very important for your community. So keep that in mind. That's all I have.
All right, Kelly. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm overstepping, let me know.
No.
Well, I wanted to ask, is there any chance that we can have an emergency services committee meeting sometime soon?
Yes, we have reorganized our committees, and we are ready to, well, we already started meetings tonight. Brooklyn, tell me who's on the emergency services.
Me. Kelly Campbell, me, and Keith.
Kelly Campbell. Okay, so yes, definitely. If you guys would like to get one on the calendar, and then, can I see that Brooklyn real quick? Here.
Monday through Thursday next week, if any of you are available.
Monday, yeah, I'm kind of in the air on that one.
How's Thursday look for you?
They're just not for me.
What about you?
Thursday, I believe
That's
it's fine, yeah.
15.
Are we talking like evening?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine for me.
What time are you thinking?
4:30, 5 o'clock?
I go at 4:30, so preferably 5.
So the 15th at 5?
All right, so emergency services, we're going to do the 15th at 5 p.m. Okay. And then while we're on the topic of scheduling meetings to get these committees going, I know we had a utility meeting tonight, but that didn't pan out. So we do need to get that rescheduled. So can we go ahead and figure out what that date is? And that is Brooklyn, who is the utility. Can you don't have it?
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mike Mays, Amber Fletcher, and Andy.
Mike Mays, Amber, and Andy. So can you take a look at your calendar and let's get that committee going?
Is there anything that we're looking at going over? I mean, is there any issues to bring to table that won't wait till next month, or is there something that's
I
pressing?
don't know
that
of
we should be
anything
looking
that's
at?
pressing, but I do think that for all of our committees, I went through this with the CDC tonight. I think it's important to come together, talk about what you're supposed to be working on, what your priorities are, and creating a cadence of your meetings. And that has not been done, so I would highly suggest that that get done this month. Plus, you also have to select a chair of the committee. So I don't know of any immediate pressing issues. I do know that there's ongoing efforts, things around utility rates and things of that nature that you might want to be aware of, but also prioritizing what needs to be done within this committee, especially since you have new members.
So from what I'm understanding from this, it says February 22nd that we have meetings for committees. Are you wanting to try to squeeze that in before that? Because we've got another meeting.
So if
yet this month.
if there is a scheduled one, that's what I'm asking. Like, I don't even know.
Yes, it's the 22nd of this month is what it says
So
right
does
here.
that work for all of the council members?
Wait a minute, I don't think you're doing the right thing. You could do the 22nd because it's an available day.
Yeah, but I mean, we normally do them before council meetings. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
And it's normally the second week of,
That's what I'm
or
saying.
second meeting of the month.
The other thing you have to be considerate of is this schedule is a schedule that was created 3 years ago. It may not work for your, hold on just a second. It may not work for your committee members. So I think it's a great idea to come together initially. It might just be a 30-minute meeting. It might be 45 minutes. I don't know. But come together, make sure that cadence works. If it doesn't, reset the schedule and figure out what is the ongoing meetings going to look like. Plus, again, going back to prioritizing what this committee does.
Right.
That's what we need to do a better job of.
Right.
We can't wait on our administrator to tell us when there's a problem that we need to meet. We need to know what's within our realm and then prioritize the things that we should be working on throughout the year.
And I think I understand, but a lot of them things we don't, like in the past meetings, Art would always the village administrator would bring that meeting together and create. I mean, it wasn't really, as I recall, over the last 2 years, it wasn't really me creating an ideal to speak about. Now, there was occasions like we discussed concrete when I was on, I think it was the utility committee, sidewalks, things like that. But for the most part, it always seemed like the village administrator kind of pulled that meeting together in Dale. And then you know what I mean?
When there are issues, what I am saying is that you guys do need to come together initially. You need to decide your cadence of meeting. If it's what was outlined 3 years ago, that's fine. But then you have new members on your committee as well. And I think it's important to bring them up to speed on some of the things that you worked on over the last year. And then as a team, along with the administrator, and I will be there as well, talk about what are the things that we should be working on, what is on our radar, and what are our priorities. That alone is a 30-minute session, maybe. From there, you can decide, are we meeting monthly? Are we meeting as needed? Are we meeting every 2 months, once a quarter, whatever it is? But I think, and you made a great point about sidewalks. I push sidewalks to CDC, but that's probably under utilities.
So Andy, sorry.
No, you're fine. If there is a 20-second, go ahead.
Can I make a point real quick, Mike?
Yeah.
The Utility Service Committee is the second Thursday of the month, which is today. So if you do a meeting next,
You had a
this is
meeting
the
at 5
second
o'clock.
Thursday, not the second meeting.
Okay.
So,
I didn't have a new time schedule.
so if you do decide to do a meeting before the next regular council meeting, you may want to consider 6 o'clock so you don't have that hour gap between two meetings.
We'll run the,
Mike, do you just want to do, and Amber, I guess, maybe just the 22nd at 6 o'clock before our next regular
Yes.
meeting, since we'll all be here?
yes, that sounds
And then from there, you guys decide how you operate along with any guidance given by Kelly and or Greg. I mean, Greg's going to be a part of that down the road as well. But I think it's important you've got 2 brand new members on there. We've got to get them up to speed. So
And as far as, I guess I missed the budget meeting tonight too?
it
or
was the
that-
utility.
Well, okay, so next week will be the budget and it'll be on schedule.
That's exactly what I'm going through right now, each committee, so that everybody knows when the meetings are, the first initial meeting. So do we have a budget committee set?
There's no budget committee set. The budget committee is the fourth Thursday, which would be the second meeting of the month. But it's scheduled January, April, July, and October.
And so we're beyond that.
So you
we-
put down January, so.
And budget really should be meeting monthly. So that's my opinion of that, but that's for the committee to decide. So I would highly suggest that you get whomever is on budget, you get that first initial meeting set so that the same task can be gone through.
What do you and Brooklyn think on,
Okay.
what are you guys thinking on the budget? Is that fine for the next meeting of the 22nd?
And I have another one of those. Yeah, we can just do the normal, the budget was at 6, correct?
Well, we'll have the other meeting, which will conflict at 6. Could we do 6:30? That gives us a half hour to just touch base and then go over our ideals of the future meetings and kind of connect on that, like she's talking.
We can still do,
Because they
Are you
want to do
doing
the utility
utilities?
meeting at 6.
That you could do a 5 o'clock on the,
we don't do the 5 in case it runs longer.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
So
fine.
we'll just reverse it
okay.
from what it is.
And then from those meetings, you decide what your
Okay.
cadence is going forward. Don't take what this says. Again, this was made 3 years ago, so this may not work for your new members or you.
And 5 on the 22nd.
5 for the budget meeting?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have HR as well, and there are plenty of things on that committee. I know that are anxiously awaiting somebody to be on the committee. So let's go ahead and get that started. Is there a cadence on the HR committee? Brian? No?
No, that's as needed.
Okay, so then HR committee would be Bink, Kelly Campbell, and Amber Fletcher. So again, same exercise so that we can review items that are still kind of standing still and then kind of prioritize our goals. So is there a time for the 3 of you that would work maybe over the next few weeks? It doesn't have to be within 2 weeks.
2 of us will be here on Thursday. Amber, can you be here Thursday? Like we could meet at 5 for the emergency services and then at 6 and then we'll set our cadence from there.
So the 15th at 6 p.m.?
Does that work for you, Kelly? Just right after that 5 o'clock one?
I thought they were doing.
That's on Thursday.
There's
That's on Thursday, the 22nd.
22nd.
We're meeting on the 15th with the emergency services.
Yeah, that's fine.
That works.
So, okay, I'll run through these real quick
You want
again.
me to send an email to everybody with a reminder with all those dates?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Would it be wise maybe to get everyone who's new to committees as many copies of the old minutes as we can? I mean, to read through?
They're kind of vague though, I mean, quite honestly.
Okay.
I mean,
Maybe try to go back
They
and
do have
watch
subject matter, but that's about it.
Well, the thing that we do know, so first of all, so I know when we talk CDC, you were prepped for CDC, plus you were on CDC before Bink. Utility, Mike was on utility before, so I was relying on Mike to kind of prep the new folks for what had been going on. And then you've got budget and HR. I was chairing both of those, so I have plenty of notes and that's why I said I know there's plenty of projects awaiting somebody to get in these committees. So I'll prep everybody with those two. All right, is that good? All right, so just real quick, we'll run through that. The EMS committee is on the 15th at 5 p.m. The HR committee is on the 15th at 6 p.m. The utility meeting is on the 22nd at 6 p.m. and budget is on the 22nd at 5 p.m. Okay, and then Brian will send out an email to follow up as well. Will you include me on that?
No. I'll attach a few of the last minutes that I have available, just so if anybody does want to look at them, they'll be there.
Perfect. Mike?
Yeah, I just seen that Hammond Consulting put out a report, and I think this is current. I just wanted to thank them for taking their time. It's actually it's well laid out, and I just wanted to tell them thank them for taking the time to do that. I know I'm always the one screaming, "Where's the report?" Well, I don't want to not scream thank you for taking time to do the report.
We'll pass that along to Jason.
Yeah.
All right, guys, anything else for us to go through tonight? Our next regular council meeting is on the 22nd at 7 p.m. So pack your lunches for that evening, those of you on those committees that night. All right, outside of that, nothing else to go over. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Kelly Campbell has properly made the motion to adjourn with Mike Mays seconding. All those in favor, please state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, meeting adjourned.
Still alive.
Still live, guys.